And that's why I became a stay-at-home mom. And God forbid, Elohim forbid, consciousness forbid, creativity forgive, creation forbid. If something was to happen to our income and it was sell your house or whatever the case may be, I am that serious as I would go to, we a family of 6, a 2-bedroom apartment, a 1-bedroom apartment before my kids ever went to school.
And when I hear this, I'm like, this is serious commitment, to what your desires are. And I know that there are people out there that say, girl, you just doing too much, or you going too
I love it. I love the too much.
Okay, so this has been amazing conversation. And so a lot of the things that you were saying, like I said, I'm thinking about when I was growing up and how a lot of this translate over to some of the same things. And I want to throw in that looking at the woman that I've turned out to be, I'd like to think that my mom did a good job, Mm-hmm. So, when people might want to have this idea of, girl, you doing too much, honey, let them children live. Okay, I am letting my child live. Right. I am actually allowing them to live maybe a lot longer because I'm instilling these things into them, Right. And like you said, it's all about what's important to us. Because like you said, it is so important to you that you have the ability to stay at home and be able to instill these things in your child, that even if I have to go to a 2-bedroom apartment so that we are still able to sustain a roof over our head and things of that nature, it's still going to let me do the thing that I desire the most. And that's what I think that people have to understand that might be listening and saying, I could never do this. What's important to you is the question you have to ask yourself. What is important to you?
Where do you place that value? What do you value more? Do you value the stuff more? Do you value the house more? Do you value all of these luxury items more? Or is it more important for you to say, you know what? I actually want to be involved in raising my kids. Is that important? Now, people are like, oh, you are hardcore. Like, I'm not interested. I don't want to be a mom that actually is at home with my kids and doing their education and doing all of those different things. Well, then traditional, then that I'm not for you. I don't want to be a wife that is allowing our husband to lead. We're going to do this thing 50-50. We hear that in society a lot. We're going to do it 50-50. 50-50 is a 50-50 lie. Really, think about it. I looked up these statistics. 8 out of 10 women, I think this it came from different journals of life and health and stuff like that. I can tell you the exact ones. I have them written down, but I don't have it to memory. But 8 out of 10 women that work full time still do the bulk of the household chores. 8 out of 10. And then out of that 8 out of 10, only one of those men do the bulk of the household chores. So the other 9th person is 50-50. And the other one is the husband that's doing all the chores. So chances are, if you work a full-time job and you are a wife, you are a mother, you're doing a bulk of the household chores. It still is very gender rolled as far as what is taking place in the house. Typically, the wife or the or mom is cooking. She's doing the laundry. She's doing the bulk of the cleaning. Now, there may be some stuff that is split on some 50-50, but you still are doing most of that work. And so it just made sense to me when I was looking at all these different things that if I was going to be coming home and doing it anyway, so now I go work for somebody else that's telling me this is your value. This is how much we're going to pay you. And anytime I can let you go. And I was let go on a job because they didn't see my value anymore. They had all these different things. So they were saying all of that stuff to me. And then I had to go home and I had to cook dinner. I had to make sure the kids were taken care of with school and all that kind of stuff. And of course, when both James and I worked, we were splitting this stuff. It still wasn't halfway down. I can't ever remember James doing laundry. I've always done all the laundry. And so if you are looking at it that way, it just makes more sense to, if somebody is going to be home to do this, my natural role is to do this. I don't have to deal with the crap that's on the job. I'm actually working towards whatever our family vision is. And that is key, and that is goal. What is your family vision that you are working towards? So if you're coming home and you're going to be a traditional wife, we are big on family business. We have that added in as a side and as a component. It does not have to be so. It was not that for me when we have very, very young children. Our oldest is now 3 years old. And so I'm kind of able to move in a different way than I was before. But when she was younger, I wasn't considered thinking about how I'm going to help with our family business. But once she started getting older, my daughter released her book. My 13-year-old daughter, she released a book when she was 10, or she wrote a book when she was 10, released it when she was 11 or 12. And so when that happened, I was able to be more involved in that process, family business. I'm able to now be involved in marriage by design, family business. And so we consider that a tenet of our traditional marriage, not of all traditional marriages, because I am fine, well, and good. And I have been for quite a while in not doing anything in a business capacity. Don't feel like that has to be the case. We just do that because we have a mission on creating a legacy that's going to last outside of us. But it just made sense. I was tired of burning the stick. I was tired. The candlestick was burning on both ends. I got the career over here. I got the family over here. And I was literally feeling burnt out. And so I don't believe people's like, it's hard to balance all of it. You can't balance all of it. You balancing a career, balancing a home life, there's going to be a lot of very emotional days because you feel like you robbing one thing and you robbing the other thing. And so for me, I was very, very excited to come off that job when the opportunity arose in 2012. And so I think that if we as women, another big word that I want to throw out there is submit. Submit. It's a curse word, right? I should have said the S word, because to Black women, submitting is a curse word to Black women. Submission. What is submission? Mission is putting your desires below the mission. Both James and I submit to what the mission is. What is your family mission? We both submit to that. Now, do I submit to his leadership? Hands down, yes. If James makes a move and he makes a call and he says, this is what we're about to do, we're about to do it. It just is that. Now, James is a great leader. So if I was against something, he would get my buy-in or tell me, how it's going to go. He comes to me and asks me, oh, what do you think about this situation or that? Or how do you think I should move in that? He comes to me and I've met a bunch of business partners of his. And I'm like, I don't particularly like that person. I can discern a lot of stuff about people. I don't know if I would move that way. And then a couple months later, he was like, I'm glad I didn't move that way because of the guidance that you told me. Or I'd be like, no, that person is this. And he'd be like, okay. And then we find out that, this particular person is not who they said they were. And so he was like, dang, you right again. I was like, I just got it.
It's like my mom. My mom is that person for me. She's like,
don't do it. Don't do it. And so being able to be used in that capacity for business as well. And so it's just really big for us to create something, again, outside of us that will last. But submission is key in doing that. You have to submit. Women, you have to submit to your husband's leadership in order for everything to work. And be fine with the provision and the protection. People are like, well, I don't need protection. But Black women are the least protected women in this world because they're not, we are married at the lowest rate. In 2019, 74% or 64, I got the stat somewhere, 74% of women that had children that year did it by themselves, single, unmarried women. The percentage dropped, so it was 64. I remember now, it was 64% in 2019. The percentage then goes to Hispanic women at 42% and white women at 24%. We are the highest population. This is from the U.S. Census. This data is from being collected from the census data intake at hospitals and stuff. 64% of us are single, unmarried, birthing children and raising them. 2019. And so there's a problem and an issue there when that every drop off is 20% down to the Latino, and then another 20% down where only 24% of white women are unmarried single women that are having children. That is a problem. We
Yeah.
as a Black family unit have to come back together. And a way
Yeah.
to make that work, a way to get that Black man back in the house, to get him married to you, is for you to submit to him, to his leadership, to his protection, and to his provision. And for also you to be fine with the provision that he's providing. He doesn't have to provide you this luxurious lifestyle. You can build towards that if that is what you desire. But for you to have food, clothing, lights, and be able to build from there. I'm also for a woman, if she wants to have a side job, not a full-time job. Being a traditional wife, you cannot work full-time outside the home. It's just not enough hours in the day for that to happen. You can be a modern woman and do that. You don't have to be a boss chick. You can be a modern woman and do that. But if you're looking for the traditional lifestyle, it's now, of course, it may be in one situation or occurrence, maybe it can be, but for the masses, being a traditional wife is going to mean that you are not working full-time outside of the home. And so if we can go back to some of those core values, right? If we can love our Black men and say, you know what, Black man, I know you've let me down before.
Yeah.
But I'm still
I know that's what a lot of females are thinking out there. They're probably like, honey, I done trusted him and he done let me down, honey.
Right. Black men, I know you've let me down. Black woman, I know that I have some insufficiencies as well. We have to admit that both of us have insufficiencies that have been broken down, that were systematic, that were put on us from years and years, hundreds of years ago, when they decided that Black man, Black woman, you are a slave and you are here to work from us. We still recovering from that. And so once we come together and say, you know what, enough is enough, we're going to build our Black families so that we can have Black children that are growing up in a well-adjusted home and society. We're going to then flourish out to building the Black community. Then we can tackle some stuff in injustice. Everybody is split one way. We got the Black women and the Black men fighting against each other. We have the gender wars. We have the I can't stand the Black man. We have so many different things that are going on in our Black family and Black family unit. It's like, okay, what we gonna do? Black woman, right. I can speak to you because I'm a Black woman. Yeah, we need to get in line with the leadership, and we need to get in line with the provision. I know you think, oh, I need in California to make a 80,000, 100,000. Move out of California. Nobody said that you had to stay there. If you're in an area where it's not allowing you to have the vision for your family that you want, then move to the suburbs, move to the South, move somewhere else. It's that important to your family, that important to the community, that we now figure out what needs to be done so that we can grow and change and be the people I know we are, the people I know that we can be that.
That's right. And we can. And I often say that we as a Black community, we teach people how to treat us as a Black community based off the way we treat ourselves. And we've not been kind to ourselves for a very long time, especially like you just mentioned, the Black family. We often allow so many things to divide us instead of finding ways to make it work. And like, you know, maybe you are that Black family who has to start off in a modern situation, you know, because I mean, I'm a modern wife and mom right now, you know, and to be honest, it just works for our family unit right now, you know, the way that we are. But if I'm completely honest, as time progresses and now having a child, some of my desires are truly changing. I'm like, I really do. I never would have saw myself as being someone that wants to homeschool a child. Never. But now I'm like, I kind of would love to be able to do that. You know, me and my husband, we love travel. We love spending that time together, going exploring the world and seeing things. And one of the things that is important to us is allowing our daughter, as she gets older, to also make sure she sees the world in its biggest, in all of its entirety, versus seeing it through the lens of social media, so that she can think bigger, she can see bigger, she can understand larger. You know, these are things that are important. And so as you said, submitting to that vision of our family, is important. As now that, having a child, it just makes things so much more important to me, what's important, and I really, I hear so much of what you're saying, especially when we're talking about building legacy and making sure that the things that we want instilled in our children and passed down from generation to generation, that we as a Black family, that we make sure that we do whatever is necessary to make that happen. And it starts with us coming back together and making sure that we don't allow the things in this world to keep dividing us, because it's happened for way too long. So I love it. I love it. I there's just so much that I feel like we can say and we can talk about. And I know that we've, the hour has gone long now. So I don't want to keep you all day on this Good Friday.
You're fine.
I do want to ask you this question, because there may be women out there that's watching us and they're like, man, this woman, she is a powerhouse. I love the things she's saying. I don't know that I'll ever be married. I don't know that, that's in the cards for me. Or maybe I've given up on it. Or maybe I am married, but, there's still just, maybe I'm not ready to be a traditional wife, but I still have goals and desires and I don't feel confident. What might be some advice you would give to someone who might be watching and say, I just want to be able to walk in this confidence. I want to be able to feel confident in myself, that it is okay for me to go after my goals, after my dreams, whether I'm married or single.
Okay. Well, I would have to answer that in two parts.
Okay.
For the married woman that is married and she wants to go after her goals, after her dreams and different things like that, with your spouse, you need to see, are those goals and dreams at that particular time in alignment with what the family vision is.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, there might be times when I come up with an idea and I've come up with something and I've come to James and I've said, hey, I like to try or do this. We're going to check that against, does that move and is it the right timing for the family and for the vision? Not saying that, hey, I'm not going to say that you will never get to do it, but is that something that we need to do now? I think in our society, we have this horrible thing and this horrible feeling with delayed gratification. We feel like we can't delay anything. It's like, I want to do this and I want to do it now. Uh-huh. And so we feel that way. But if the vision and if the mission is one thing and your goal, your desire or dream is taking away from that, then it might not be that particular time for you to go do that. You might need to come in alignment and say, oh, okay, how can we make this work within it? And if we can't make whatever my dream, desire, or goal is work within the mission of our family, then let's put that on the back burner till we can get to that point where we can. Mm-hmm. We've seen it done so many different times in marriages where one spouse will send the other spouse into school and different things like that. And I'm going to sit back and we're going to wait and defer. And then I'll go work on my career or whatever that is. But I don't know why it's now taboo for us to kind of wait and say, what's the family mission? If you're married and you do not have a family mission, you need to sit down with your spouse and say, what's the direction our family is going in the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? In the next year, what do we want to have accomplished? Is that investing? Is that a book? Is that, whatever it is that you want to accomplish, is that community service? It doesn't matter, whatever it is, there should be some kind of goal and vision for your family, number one. And so for the single person out there, I would say if you're wanting confidence in an area and you just want confidence overall, the areas that you're lacking in. And if you don't know those areas you're lacking in, talk to someone that is close to you so that you can find out what those are and get into some personal development books, podcasts, CDs. I don't think people listen to CDs anymore. Get into the personal development of it so that you can grow in that area. If you're not growing in an area that you are weak in, then how can you become confident in that area? And so
Yeah.
you can walk that confidence out if you are growing, personally developing. When we were first getting started, personal development, oh, that's for, the airhead people. People would laugh at personal development. Now it's common. You have the seminars, the books, and all this kind of stuff. And people are trying to embetter themselves and make them better across the board. So really get into that. That is what I would say for the single woman and for the married woman too. You want to still be growing and developing for yourself and for your family. And for the women out there that want to be in a traditional role and they went to college and they're like, I don't want to waste my degree, or you're wasting your degree. I can remember I have a master's degree. I got my master's from Appalachian State as well. And people are like, oh my gosh, you have all these degrees and you're not using them. I am so glad not to be using the degrees. But honestly, I do. I had, my background was in communication disorders. I took a lot of child psychology classes.
Mm-hmm.
So I took a lot of transferable skills that transfer onto the homeschool life that I'm using. And a lot of what college is that you learn is a lot of stuff that's going to transfer anyway. Them first 4 years, the major degrees are communications. People are getting degrees in that, business, all that kind of stuff can be something that is transitional into being at home. And what if you are, working as an accountant or whatever else? If you have family business, maybe that's an area you can do part-time or extremely part-time, however you and your husband work it out at home, and you can help the family business with that. And so there's ways to make it work. It really, truly is. If you have a desire and you want to come home, you got to come up with the plan first. Spouses together, come up with the plan. If your children are older, get the buy-in of the family. And this is the goal that we're all working towards so that we can have a family unit that's running the way we want it to run.
You have said a mouthful, and I'm so appreciative of it. And I heard, especially, with the marriage and, like you were saying, with us wanting to reach our goals and things of that nature and delayed gratification. It takes teamwork.
Right.
It takes teamwork. And you have to be a really good team player in order for teamwork to work. And, I just want to just say, to everyone out there that might be listening, if you want to be able to connect with Yolanda and talk about some of these things as women and these, different areas that you might want to invest your personal growth and your personal time in, reach out to her. Yolanda, I know that you have a program where you actually have women that may want to connect with you and work. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, and also how people can reach you?
Yes, for sure. Well, you can reach both James and I weekly. We do a live show on YouTube every Sunday at 8 p.m. And you can find us on YouTube if you search The Marriage by Design. That is where you will find us. You will see our little faces, and you can connect with us there. And you can subscribe and like so you get the notifications every time we go live, every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you can find both of us there. And my husband has a program that he does with men, very powerful, very strong. And he is part of the tailor-made man movement. He created that movement because he understands that a lot of times us as women, we cannot lead and guide our husbands, and men need mentorship too. And so he has a program that he does that with. And he can be found. You can connect through YouTube on that and click all the different links. And I do one-on-ones with women. And in this one-on-one, I help you craft, and you come to me with questions, and I will help you craft and look for what you're trying to do with your life, with dating and marriage. And so at that time with the one-on-one, it really is crafted towards what you want to do and what you want to accomplish as a traditional wife and or a traditional mother. And you can find that and get more information on that by going to yolanda.themarriagebydesign.com. And again, check us out on YouTube. We have also stuff on Facebook that is going to be coming down pretty soon. I just haven't got to it. But in 2016, we started shows, and you can kind of catch some of those different shows there. if you really want to go back into the older days. And check us out on Facebook as well. And we're on Instagram at The Marriage by Design as well.
Amazing. And you guys, I'm going to have all this information down in the description. Forgive me because I know that my lighting has gotten really weird. But I'm going to have all of this information down in the description. Please go and check out Yolanda. Go and check out James, Marriage by Design, tailor-made man, one-on-ones with Yolanda. You are not going to be disappointed, you guys. Wow, you guys, I have really enjoyed this conversation with Yolanda. You know, I've appreciated listening to her perspective on the idea of what it is to be a traditional wife and a traditional mother and having that traditional family. I've heard political conversations around this whole idea of what's wrong with the Black community and they don't have the traditional family structure. And so that's why, you know, they're not ahead and all of these kinds of things in a very negative context. But it's refreshing to hear, you know, how the traditional Black family, you know, what it can do to help strengthen us as a Black community. I even though this idea of being a traditional wife and modern wife and traditional family, modern family, these are kind of new concepts for me. I didn't know these terms. Always, I guess, in a sense, consider myself to be on the modern side. I'm on the modern side right now. You know, I work a full-time job and my husband works full-time and we have a little one who is in preschool. She's in a private school here. And, you know, and we didn't start out traditionally because our daughter came about a year before we got married. And I can vividly remember hearing myself say stuff like, yeah, I can never be a stay-at-home mom. I can never be a stay-at-home wife. I got to be working, you know, I got to make my own money, you know. And honestly, the idea of not making my own money is kind of uncomfortable because, I mean, since the age of 15 years old and I'm now 37, I've been making my own money. So that idea is a little bit, you know, it's uncomfortable for me if I'm completely honest. But what I can say, though, is, you know, since the start of the pandemic and going through this pandemic and having worked from home for the last a little over 2 years now, it really made it clear to me how much I want to be home. Even with my daughter going to a really good school, it still has made me realize how much I want to homeschool my child. I never would have thought that I would be a type of person that would want to homeschool a child. Never. But those desires have changed. And the more I spend time in my corporate job, as much as I'm appreciative of it, as much as it has paved the way for me to have the life, especially, you know, obviously with my husband and my husband being the breadwinner, but, you know, I'm doing pretty good too now. But it has afforded us the life that we have and afforded me the opportunity to do some of the things that I've been able to do. I can honestly say, though, the day that I get to say I quit will be the day I will shout. I will shout. I'm looking forward to that day. I feel like a lot of us that grew up with this notion and with this narrative fed to us that the American dream, the life that you want to go after is go to college, graduate, get a good corporate job, and that's going to that's going to be the life, you know. A lot of us that grew up with that narrative, and now we're hitting our 30s and we're starting to realize that this ain't all cut out. This ain't what it's all cut out to be. You know, this isn't the dream. I really feel like there are a lot of us that are coming to that understanding, especially when we hit like around our 30s. You know, there's something about that. And especially when you start to have children, I know for me, having my daughter and again, like I say, being home during the pandemic has really opened my eyes to how much I really want to be home, and just how much I would much rather. My daughter, she has spring break. She's only 2, and there's so many things I wanted to do with her on her spring break week. I wanted to be able to take her to the museum and just do fun things with her, throughout the whole week. But I had to work. I had to be logged in to my computer and making sure that I logged my hours and did my work. And don't get me wrong, it's not that I don't want to work or that, my work ethic doesn't mean the world to me, because it does. My work ethic means so much to me. And I have always been a hard worker. Like I said, I've worked since 15. It's just that my desires truly have shifted. And so it is my hope that within the next couple of years that I will be able to finally, thank my job and exit into a life where I can truly have that thing to the side that I want to do, that I just enjoy doing, but have also like a sufficient amount of time that I can really pour into my child. And then just taking care of home, because it's hard. It's hard to juggle it all. I know that there's this narrative out here. You can have it all, women, we can have it all. We can do it all. Yeah, you can, but I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I don't know about some of you mothers out there who work full time like I do and have children and everything, but it's hard to try to have it all. Like there are days when I'm just exhausted from trying to have it all, and I just truly believe that there is a joy that comes with that ability to be able to dedicate the large amount of my time that I'm now dedicating to this 9 to 5, being able to dedicate it to my family. And as Yolanda mentioned, I truly do believe that strong families create strong communities, and that our strong, healthy Black families can help to lead to the strength of our Black community. I do not want to ever neglect. I never want to neglect shining a light on the amazing contribution that single mothers in the Black community provide to us, because so many single Black mothers, they don't ask to be that, but at the same time, they do the dang thing. So I just want to say, just to acknowledge the work of the hard work of single mothers in the Black community, because thank you. Thank you for dedicating every bit of you to making sure you raise amazing children, regardless of what they may have come out. Because the thing is we cannot determine what our children will be, but we can put our blood, sweat, and tears into making sure we train them up and teach them right. And so many of you mothers have done a really wonderful job. So thank you. And I just want to say, to everyone that watches this video, single, married, single mother, married and no children, whatever path you are on, we all still have a purpose. And I just encourage you to, as Yolanda, mentioned, take that time, work on our personal development, work on those areas that we know that we may be weak in, so that we can fulfill the purpose that God has given us for our life, because we only get one. I want to thank you so much for taking an opportunity to watch this video, watching part 1 and part 2. There's so many other great interviews that I have coming. So I encourage you to make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that notification bell so you are made aware of when I have other videos posted. And listen, If you haven't done so already, I want you to stop, take a moment, find a reason to laugh, and keep smiling. Until next time, and always, stay blessed.